We live? Oh,
Working on it.
okay.
It's trying.
Yeah, I used to use StreamYard for my show when I used to do a Web3 show a couple months ago.
The Wi-Fi here is a challenge right now. Even though you and I are speaking, does not want to connect. But, hopefully we're not. Well, this is all recorded, so we're good. There we go. It's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the Ted Show. Hey, everybody. Super excited to have Nick Cardona on the show with us. He's going to have to explain Sir Punk down there in the name there, but we're going to talk about Web3CFL. Web3CFL has a Hurricane Ian NFT relief project. We're going to talk about that as well. Welcome, Nick. Thanks for being patient. How are you, buddy?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Ted. I really appreciate that. And I'm doing well. I'm doing
Good.
well. We're in this exciting area, so it's been a
I'm
lot.
excited. I told you before we went live that my knowledge base is limited to, I'm not even sure I know what NFT stands for. So I want to get into that and I want to talk about the Hurricane Ian relief. But before we do, give them a little 411 on you, a little background on you. I think before we went live, I said, you weren't born talking about NFTs that I'm aware of. So they want to kind of know how you got here.
Yeah, absolutely. So really, a lot of my background is trading and certain businesses. And in 2017 is when I first got into crypto, where I was really just trading it from a financial standpoint. Bitcoin, Ethereum, all that things were kind of going crazy, and then it all sort of like collapsed, right? Everything fell 90%. We all thought it was over. The media was like, Bitcoin is a scam. Nobody thought it was coming back. So I even dismissed it. I was like, this is a cool idea, but nah, this is magic internet money. There's really nothing to it. Fast forward a year or two, and it all starts coming back, and you start hearing some big names in the financial space in different areas, tech space, that are getting involved, and it all starts ramping back, and it gets very interesting. So I get interested in it again because, of course, people like prices when they go up, and this sparks the
Yes.
interest. So, but I never really got truly interested in Web3 or NFTs until about, I'll say, like mid last year. So I remember I was on Twitter because I'm heavily on Twitter for financial things, but I saw Steph Curry put a Bored Ape as his Twitter profile picture. And if you're not familiar with Bored Apes, they're like the number one NFT project and company in the world. Um, they just were valued at 4 billion, raised $400 million, and they have a
Wow.
very elite club, is what we can call it. But Steph Curry had posted that, and I was like, "What is this? What is this monkey picture online? Like, why is Steph Curry involved with this?" So that's how I first came across it. I'd never even heard about it, even though the historical NFTs came out in 2017. I really didn't come across any of it until I saw Steph Curry last year. So as soon as I saw that, I said, let me just check it out, see what this is. Um, and almost instantly, I was mind blown. I was like, wait a minute. This is not a monkey picture. The underlying technology of what this is so versatile. And it's essentially the first version of digital ownership for people. And the fact that it was a monkey was besides the point, right? And there's a story behind the monkey as well when it comes to crypto, the lore of it. But that at that moment, that's when I almost instantly dedicated myself all to Web3 just to try to learn it, join the community, and try to really understand what was happening here. And ever since then, we started Web3 Central Florida here in Orlando, and we've been throwing events. We have a charity NFT project we're doing where we're leveraging Web3 and the community to try to help people right in our backyard impacted by Ian, and it's just a lot of incredible things have slowly been progressing in the space.
So let me try to break it down, or have you break it down, because you said a lot of letters, and I want to understand them. I think there's still a lot of people who don't understand crypto um, a lot, and they have listened to mainstream media, and of course
Yeah,
there were crashes, so to speak, or whatever the terminology is. But I think they've learned at least the basics of that. When you
uh-huh.
talk about Web Web3, what are you talking about?
Yeah. So when we say Web3, it's really crypto started taking off. I feel like when they rebranded it to Web3, because it's easier and it's sort of a buzzword. So Web3 is the third iteration of the internet. So when you think of what Web1 was, it was 19 the mid 1990s, early 2000s, where we had the tech bubble, and that was the first iteration where really you can only read things on the internet unless you were technical. You really weren't interacting. It was too early. Internet was slow. We still had like dial up and all those things, right? Then fast forward to several years to like the mid 2000s, sort of when like the app boom started sort of taking off with Apple and other smartphones, and that's what you call Web 2, because now you can read and you can write. So the internet sort of democratized publishing for people online, and that's where you could post videos, you could post blogs. I remember when blogs really took off, eventually podcasts, and now look where we're now. But that's where Web 2 really provided. Now fast forward to now, where it's the beginning of Web 3, where Web 3 is democratizing ownership on the internet via a new way of access for people. And that's really what an NFT is. And NFTs are what we like to call crypto's consumer moment. It's finally the product that crypto can offer that's going to onboard the next million and billion people onto this wave. Because it makes sense for people, right? It's digital collectible. It's owning something. We own things in real life all the time, but never on the internet have we actually owned something in a way where you could verify it, and it is in a decentralized fashion, in a way where there's nobody that can take it from you, right? Up until this point, we've owned nothing. We've been on these Web 2 platforms where their goal is to get as many eyeballs on the platform, lock you in, and then sell ad space. But now it's moving more towards where we own our data, we own our digital assets. And why this stuff matters will make more sense to the average person when the metaverse becomes more prevalent in the years to come.
The thing, and it's loud here, so just bear with me. The thing, so much that you just said, Web 1, Web 2, Web 3, I'd never heard that terminology before. And remember, I'm 800, so imagine some of my audience is at least my age.
Yeah.
But I think owning your data, tell us what NFT stands for.
Yes.
And then if you can explain just a little bit of how that's different. Why is owning your data important? And I know you said metaverse will eventually make that clear, but I think if somebody's listening to this, go, well, I already own my data, Ted. I've got it on my laptop. I've got it stored in the cloud. I already own my stuff. Explain how this is different.
Yes. So right now, because we're so early in this wave, we're still using like technical terminology in Web3. It's how early it is. And this is very reminiscent of the early internet age, where they were using technical wordage, where now we don't use any of that, right? We just use basic stuff. You go online and you post and you do things, right? So NFT stands for non-fungible token. It's just a unique token. Each token is completely unique with its own ID. And there's blockchain and all these things. We're not even going to be really using those terms moving forward. People are just going to be using the tech, and everything will be underlying, right? And then it'll make more sense for people. And your second question, sorry, was why does it matter to own your data, right? Well, we all now know what it feels like to not have a say in owning our data online, as we've seen Facebook and Apple and all these other tech companies decide that they're going to utilize our data and profit off of it via selling it for ads and all other things online, right? Facebook is really known for this. So not only do they not ask you for permission, they don't provide you any compensation or anything for your data, right? So you absolutely own none of it, and we don't want other people owning our data and knowing everything about us and us having no say about that, right? Like I think we've experienced some frustration with that. So now there's this revolution, right? It's sort of more than just tech. It's like a movement of entrepreneurs and users saying, we're done with that, right? Like Web 2 was amazing. It scaled to billions of people. It gave people a voice on the internet. YouTube and it was all really cool things, but we went about it the wrong way. So now we're sort of building in a way where we're flipping the script, and we're saying we're rebuilding, and we're starting with the users in mind. And we're starting with a way, because things are bad now, but fast forward 10, 20 years. Now imagine when you're living most of your life in the metaverse, or at least the majority of your day. You're working there, you're hanging out with friends there, you're doing commerce there. And I do believe this is where it's heading. I mean, if you don't think Facebook and social and Twitter, social medias are a form of the metaverse, and I think you need to rethink that, like, they practically are, right? A 2D version of that.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Even us old folks are beginning to realize this is where it's got to be. I think we just don't know how. We don't know the terminology. Like, thank you for explaining that. And even if we do, you can't. It's funny because I've talked about this with my friends that are my age. You can't really Google it. Like you really have to talk to someone like you who is immersed in it and who has studied it and who understands it, because a lot of times we Google everything from why are we sick to stupid facts, but
Yeah.
when you Google stuff about metaverse, unless you've had somebody really sit down and talk to you about what that means, we have no idea. So I'm very glad that you dumbed it down put it to my level, because I agree with you, if you are not paying attention to it and at least familiarizing yourself with the terms and what it's going to look like, you are going to be left behind much quicker than you were when the internet first came into play. This is moving at lightning speed.
Yeah. One of the reasons this is moving way faster than the internet or things in the past is because Web3 likes to preach, openness, and it is, right? So blockchains are open sourced. It's really like a Lego effect. Entrepreneurs can consistently build on each other because Web 2 is closed, right? So like companies are looking to build things, software and stuff like that, put patents on it, close it up within their ecosystems so that they can have some sort of advantage, right? Web3 sort of flips that on its head as well, right? It's saying, hey, we're building in the open so we can help each other, and there's still competition, but now the competition isn't so much the tech itself, but more of like the community as well, right? It's very community based and focused. So that is what kind of accelerates the process. But yeah, so if you think about how Facebook sort of owns our data and the platform now, think how much worse that becomes when they own the virtual worlds that you're spending 6 to 8 hours a day in, doing a lot of what you do in everyday life. We don't like it now, but it would be much worse then. And we don't want that. So Web3 is sort of pushing for like an open metaverse, decentralized assets, which you own and can verify on the blockchain, which blockchain is in itself a public ledger that anybody can view and that nobody owns, right? It's fairly it's sufficiently decentralized, and we're working on progressively making more decentralized over time, so that there's no middlemen or people who can decide things, right? So think of Ethereum, which is the blockchain that's most popular today, as like a decentralized version of the Apple App Store. So Apple, is known for doing things over the years where they can block you or they can charge you exorbitant fees. And censor and do these things. Well, Ethereum is sort of like that world computer, like Apple, but it's open and nobody decides. People just build on it, and you can view the code, and it's really cool. So that's why we push for these things, right? Because we want an open metaverse. We want money in the metaverse that we can own. NFTs are digital assets. The reason why NFTs matter so much, because if you can decentralize the assets, then the platforms have to build around them. And then it sort of motivates more open building, right? So And think of an NFT as a digital ownership of anything, right? So
It's transparent. The transparency is the fact that it is something that everybody can you can look at. You said it. Blockchain is public. You can actually go and look and see. I think a lot of people are so used to the traditional method of, let's say, the bank holds your money and you really don't know what
yeah,
the bank's doing with your money,
yeah,
and there really is no, you don't have access to any of that.
mhm,
Um, you can buy stock in the bank if they have bank, but you still don't know where your money's going and where
yes,
it's at.
yeah.
And
And
uh,
even stocks is a good example of that, because when you buy a stock, it goes through like 10 plus institutions or people to finalize a purchase. It's just middleman after middleman after middleman, and then there's all this risk inherent with that, right? On blockchain, it's like instant settlement, peer to peer. So it's not only open and morally better, but the technology is even better in a lot of use cases as well. So when you buy an NFT, it's in your crypto wallet, and the crypto wallet is owned by you, not the crypto wallet company, because you could take those assets and go to another crypto wallet. So you actually own the assets this time, right?
it's fascinating because I still, when I hear you say it, it makes sense. But I feel like because so many of us haven't, like, I think I put $25 in once. I'm going to tell you, I'm a novice at this uh, early on, and my account is up, I mean, substantial for $25 investment. It was down to almost nothing when the whole thing uh, went crazy for a little while. But I feel like people don't realize how much power you're taking back.
Yes.
And I think that, to me, especially in the world that we live in right now, is so critical. And I feel like we're finally realizing that we have given away so much of our power and our data,
Yeah.
and there is no consequence for them taking it and using it whatever way they want to use it. And you really don't own it in that perspective. And this gives you an opportunity. I must have you come back on if you don't mind explaining more, because I know that this show is going to generate a lot of questions.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about the Hurricane Ian relief and how that works, because I think that might give people a basic understanding of how what you're talking about can still make an impact socially and community wide.
Absolutely. Yeah. Um, NFTs and what they call DAOs, which stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization, they're essentially just um, groups of people online, strangers online, that share a bank account and can trustlessly operate, right? Which is sort of a pretty big deal when you think about what that is. So, um, when it comes to the NFT project, I think NFTs and DAOs and just crypto tokens. Those three crypto tools are really going to have an impact on charity and nonprofits in a big way, just because of the way they operate and what this can do. So the way the NFT project is, it's very simple. It's just a typical NFT project where we have 10,000 NFTs or tokens, whatever you'd like to call it. So you can simply go to our website. You can connect your crypto wallet and pay in Ethereum. But we also have a fiat option where you can just pay in cash with a credit card and like a traditional purchase, so that anybody that's new can still support. And when you purchase, in return, first, when you purchase, you're donating, right? So 100% of the proceeds are going to go to some sort of charity, or we'll use it to buy more items and deliver it to some of these areas that were really impacted, like Fort Myers and stuff like that. Um, um, but also, and not only are you getting the satisfaction of donating and helping, right, which we greatly appreciate anyone that has and does, but in return, you're getting an NFT, right? An NFT is just a token that you own, right? Nobody can take it from you. Um, and we worked with some Central Florida artists that donated their work so that we can put it as the cover art for the NFTs. Um, and some of it's like Florida art or photography art,
It's
photography.
so cool.
Yeah. So It's the art. So in return, you're getting an NFT with Florida art or photography. We also used AI to generate the art. So it's like some human art and then some AI art, which you can't tell the difference, that's a whole different topic, right? Uh, and so you're getting an NFT in return. And usually that's how you've seen it work in the past, right? You donate, you get an NFT, and an NFT, it's just sort of like a token of appreciation, right? That you have in your wallet, and people know you donated, you donated, and it'll always be there. We took it a step further. We said we really want to bring awareness and incentivize people to donate because, I mean, charity is hard in itself to get people to want to give. And Web3, it is as well because there's still a lot of speculation. There's still people that are looking to buy things and flip it and stuff like that. So we're trying to think a little differently, and we partnered up with like 15 or so different NFT projects, artists, or just local Central Florida organizations and said, hey, listen, would you like to donate something to our cause? And then whoever donates, each donation, which is a minimum of $25, gets you one ticket, one entry into a raffle, and also gives you the NFT, right? So the NFT serves as the raffle ticket, right? So if you donate, you get your entry into the raffle, and then you have a chance to win a prize from one of these 15 partners. And some of our partners is the Tampa Bay Rays, who are donating 4 tickets to a home game that you can potentially win one of them, or multiple if you have multiple entries. The Miami Marlins have donated 2 signed autographed baseballs that a donor can win. We have some Magic tickets, a pair of Magic tickets we're giving away. There's like 3 or 4 NFT artists that are donating their one-of-one pieces of work. And some of them are fairly popular, right? They have a collector base that is willing to pay for these at a decent price. So they're donating it for free to us so that we can give it away to a winner. So there's a whole list of it.
That is just, to me, it's mind blowing. And I think that anybody who's listening, who's of my age group or just has not understood crypto from the beginning, is probably sitting there. I would, and I am now, thinking of all of the potential opportunities that this brings, not just to your business, but to charity, your community, taking your community back, taking your business back, other business opportunities. Like I think it's sky's the limit. It's such a new way of thinking for so many people. And I think that's why a lot of people haven't done anything with it, because it's analysis paralysis when it comes to it. So the best way for them to find out about you is web3cfl.com.
Yes.
And then if they want to buy and donate to the NFT for Hurricane Ian, they can go to web3cfl.com, correct? And I'm sure there's a link in there. I'm fascinated because I'm going to, when I promote this and share this, I really want to drive people to your site, because I think that's where they're going to get a basic taste of what you're talking about. And if I know my audience, they are probably wondering, how can we reach Nick personally? So is it still best to go to the website?
So you can go to the website, and if you go under the team section, it has all of our Twitter links, and then take you right to our page where you can follow us. Web3 is primarily on Twitter, and it's for now, it's sort of building out to different platforms. But so you can find me on Twitter under sirpunk.eth. That's sort of like my digital name. And I usually don't show my face online anymore. I represent myself as my digital avatar, my NFT of choice. So you'll see like a little green guy on there. So you can just reach me on Twitter. I'm on Instagram at sirpunk.eth as well. But yeah, our website is the best way to find out about our organization, Web3 Central Florida, as well.
That's right. You're not an avatar today. Thank you for coming on live and in person. This is the real Nick, not a robot behind him. Yeah. Where did Sir Punk come from before we head out?
Sir Punk. Web3 has its own slang. It's really like a different world. And they spell Sir with an E opposed to an I. And punk crypto is just a punk movement in general. But the historical NFT project that sort of kicked off this entire wave back in 2017, it's called CryptoPunks. they're valued at like 100 grand for the cheapest NFT. It's very popular. So I combined the two and made it my Web3 identity, and I actually bought the domain, which is you could buy domains on the blockchain. So that's how I represent myself.
Nick, I really would love for you to come back on. I think you really did blow my mind. There's so many questions that I want to ask you, and I bet you the audience will too. Find Nick, find sirpunk.eth
Yes.
on Twitter. You can also find Nick through me or go through web3cfl.com and look for him as on the team there under the team drop down. Thank you so much. Like, I am fascinated. I told you before we went live, or maybe I did it when we were talking, that I invested a little teeny tiny bit of money because I just didn't know. And now that I understand the power that it has, I definitely want to talk more and I want to educate the audience more. You all are always complaining. I see your posts about who's got the power. I don't like this person have the power. Take it back. Let's
Yep.
get more involved in NFT and crypto and all of the amazing positive things that it can do in the
Yep.
world because of its transparency. I think that is critical to it, and not having an owner like an overall bank,
Yep.
and people that blows people's minds. So anyway, I could talk about it forever. Nick Cardona, Sir Punk, thank you so much for being on the show. Come back on anytime. You know I'm going to invite you. Don't get involved. Get back to Hurricane Ian survivors and people who are going through it, still going through it.
Yes.
Forever. It's been a long time out of sight, out of mind, but it's not out of sight, out of mind for them. And this is a really cool way for dip your toe in and give back. So thanks, Nick, for being on the show. I appreciate it.
No, it was a pleasure. Thanks so much.